Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. One of these days, I'm going to get a producer, and the sound quality is going to be even better. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I am Global Happiness Specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. Happiness Specialist. Who the heck does she think she is? It's impossible to be happy all the time. Let me just be very clear. I get this question a lot. And I just got it again yesterday about what's the difference between happiness and joy. And I think that happiness is people are seeking happiness, and that's not really a good thing to do. Bottom line is this. Let me be very clear. Thank you for listening. When I'm talking about happiness, I'm speaking about a vibration. A personal vibration of contentment, a personal vibration of inner peace, meaning that it doesn't matter what happens. And this life is a journey of ups and downs, tosses and turns, spiraling here, there, everywhere. I get it just because I'm the world's global happiness specialist doesn't mean that I don't have challenges too. So it's about life challenges and how do you respond to the challenges. And when I say respond, I mean just automatically respond. There's a difference between reacting and responding. And when you are, scratch that, when I chose to prioritize happiness, in other words, I chose to prioritize the vibration of contentment over anything else that I did, over anything else that I do. Number one, is that vibration of contentment? Is that locked in place? The world teaches, and the world shares, and only because it's a program, is get out and achieve, do, accomplish, and then you'll be happy. And all I'm saying is, I'm just doing this contentment thing, this happiness thing first. That's a priority. That's my commitment. Woo! I don't know how I got off on that tangent. Today's show is about, oh my goodness. It's about, and it's not my line. It actually comes from Guy Finley. You can look him up. He's a great spiritual teacher. Guy, G-U-Y, Finley, F-I-N-L-E-Y. And this is his line. But I'm borrowing it for today. I'm adding a little bit to it. What you feel is real. Whatever feelings you are going through, whatever feelings you are feeling, those feelings are real. But the reason why you're feeling them is a lie. What? What does that mean? The feelings are real, but the why is a lie. And we're going to talk on or cover a topic that I've had to revisit. It is a common, it's just a common theme that will add to your unhappiness, and that's a promise. Let me just before I go on, the number to call in and speak with me live is area code 646-564-9619. Again, to speak with me live, area code 646-564-9619. And or if you are on Wisdom, just ask to join the show. But before I get to today's topic, let me give you a brief introduction. I get a lot of new followers, a lot of new listeners every week. And welcome new listeners, welcome new followers, welcome all new people. Just a little brief introduction of how the hell did I get the title of happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner. Who is she? Well, when I was younger, you know, when you make a wish and you blow out the candles on your birthday cake, I wished for the same two things over and over and over and over and over again. And they were, number one, I just said I wanted to live to my potential. I want to live to my potential, whatever that looks like, whatever that means, however that unfolds. Live to my potential. Thank you. And then the second thing is I wanted to be happy. And this desire, when I say desire, this desire of wanting to be happy, I have no idea where that came from or how it began, but I was definitely motivated, and I'm going to say the motivation did not come from me. The motivation came, well, see, that's another story, but the motivation really sparked, how about that? The motivation really sparked and took a life of its own when my son was in junior high, probably 11, 12, 13 years old, and he signed my name on his report card. I grew up in a house that if you didn't get an A or an A+, you had a problem. I had a problem. If it was a B+, why wasn't it an A? If it was an A-, why wasn't it an A? So there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of a focus on getting A's. Woo! Wow! But I digress. Hold on a second. I'm having a panic attack as we speak. Just kidding. But there was a lot of pressure, and I was determined not to do the same thing when I had my son. I'm not going to do that. It didn't feel good. It wasn't comfortable. It was stressful. Well, it's 5 years old. A 5 years old expected to get straight A's. And the funny thing about all of this is I found my father's report cards, and when he was in junior high school and high school, there were a lot of C's and D's. But anyway, my son signed his name on his report card, and he either got a D or a C. And the reason, and so when I found out about it, I don't really remember how. My best friend told me at the time, the reason why he signed your name and he didn't bring you the report card with the D on it is because he can't come to you. Is because he's afraid to come to you for a numerous amount of reasons, for a ton of reasons, or as they say, a plethora of reasons. Oh boy, that word is just, nah. Anyway, he couldn't come to me for, I was, believe it or not, a reactionary parent. I don't even know if that's the word, reactionary, but reacting, just definitely peace was not a priority. And when my best friend told me that my son couldn't come to me for fear of my reaction, for a reason that's beyond explanation, I knew I had to make changes. I knew I had to change. I didn't want the same type of relationship that I had with my parents, and I couldn't come to my parents with certain problems. I don't know about you out there, but there was absolutely no way I could go to Ralph or Marcel Norrington with problems about sex or drugs or, anything that a teenager really needs to know the truth about. Boys, none of that. Are you kidding? So when my son displayed the behavior that he couldn't come to me, I knew that I needed to change. And that is really the whole point, and that is the beginning. That is the beginning of this this journey that I'm holding on to for dear life. This journey of feeling or having a vibration of contentment. That is, how can I serve? I mean, I can't think of any way. I can't think of another way to serve if I'm not content. If I'm fearful or if I'm rattled, or my best service comes from when I'm feeling that feeling of contentment or that feeling of inner peace or that vibration of contentment, what I call happiness. The good news is happiness is a practice skill. And like any other practice from being a master chef to being a professional athlete, a musician, an actor, speaker, author, a technician, web designer, takes practice. And that's the good news. Happiness is a practice skill. Let me give you my definition of happiness before I go on. My definition is the ability to vibrate an energy of contentment, vibrate an energy of peace, vibrate of energy of calmness, regardless of what's happening, regardless of what happens out there, regardless of what life throws at me. I am still vibrating contentment. Well, that's impossible. No, it's not with practice. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Happiness is a state of mind, is the state of mind you were born with before all the programming and all the brainwashing and all the conditioning that taught, yes, this present moment isn't enough. I need more from this present moment. Or having expectations, or comparing yourself to someone else, or impatience. That's another program behavior. And when I say happiness is a practice skill, well, the question then becomes, well, what do you practice? Thank you for asking. Before I share with you a couple of things to practice and we start the topic of the day, the readiness or the willingness to prioritize a vibration of peace and contentment, that's another choice. And not only a vibration of contentment, but a vibration of satisfaction. You are either vibrating dissatisfaction in the moment or satisfaction in the moment. And I promise you this, my dear listeners, I promise you this, that if you're vibrating in this present moment, a vibration of dissatisfaction, you're bringing that into the present moment and then also the future moment. So the practice is to vibrate satisfaction. That means be at peace in the moment with whatever is happening in the moment. What? That's impossible. No, it's not. So it's up to you to make a decision or to choose whether or not contentment, inner peace is a priority before all this other stuff. Now, if you want to work on it at the same time, multitask, goals, human goals out there, and then also work on the inner peace and contentment, okay. But what I found is that this practice of awareness, that when I say, in fact, let me just back up a little bit. The self-awareness is most of the work. The awareness is most of the work. How you're vibrating is, and paying attention to it, is the work. The tricky part comes in when not only are you aware of the programming, which is always subtracting from your happiness. Okay, when I say always, behaviors like blaming circumstances or other people for how you're feeling. Another program behavior is having an attachment. And when I say attachments, not only attachments to people and things, I'm talking about attachments to outcomes. Attachments to an outcome. Attachments and having expectations of how you think this certain situation should, I'm using air quotes with a should play out. Again, the number to call in and speak with me live is area code 646-564-9619. Again, area code 646-564-9619, and press the number 1. I have a few people in the queue. Just press the number 1 if you want to comment or have a question. And again, if you're on Wisdom, just ask to join the show. But let's get back to the program behaviors that subtract from inner peace, contentment, and happiness. So the first part of the practice, when I say happiness is the practice skill, the first part of the practice is to gradually, with patience, and that's another program behavior, being impatient. Have you ever checked, of course you have, checked out in nature, checked animals or even trees, what in nature? There is no impatience in nature. None. Naturally, there is no impatience. And so when I say being impatient, know that that's also a program. And when you're programmed and when you are acting or behaving because of a program, just know that around the corner is discontent and unhappiness. Let me just back up a little bit. When I say gradually eliminate the program behaviors, I'm up to 52. I think there's 53 right now. Let me just check the list. 53 of program behaviors. And my question, I always get this question, well, where did they come from? 40-plus years of practice, 40-plus years of researching, 40-plus years of, living in the past subtracts from happiness. 40-plus years. And whether or not, hold on, I do not pretend to have all the answers. I do not pretend to, yes, my way is the only way. All I'm sharing is what has worked for me. And maybe, if it's possible, or maybe if you feel inspired, or maybe if you feel a connection, this can work for you too. It doesn't have to be my way. Doesn't have to be. I realize there are a lot of paths. There are a lot of roads to inner peace. This just happens to be the one that is working for me. Let me get to today's topic, which is what you feel is real, but the reason why you feel it is a lie. And again, what you feel is real, but why is a lie? That's from Guy Finley. I don't want to get any comments. Well, that's not even your idea. You're right, it wasn't, but it's the truth. The feel is real, but the reason why you feel it is a lie. What the heck does that mean? How many of you out there know why you feel, okay, so hold on a second, let me back up. Know why you are feeling any kind of angst or any kind of annoyance, anger, fear, sadness, regret, did I say resentment already? Worry. How many of you have a story, and it's usually just one story, very convincing story, have a story for the reason why you are feeling a certain way in any moment? I feel this way because I am angry because I am hurt because. The word because, and again, this is the topic that's been revisited, and it's only being revisited because it is such a, this is an epidemic. This topic, the reason why the world is so convinced that the reason why they're feeling a certain way is real. I'm feeling this way because, and all I'm saying is that feeling, the reason why, is a program. And I'll challenge you in a very loving way. I'll challenge you to come up with another reason why. Think about it, research another reason why you could be feeling sad, another reason why you could have your feelings are hurt. And let me back up again, because we're going to dissect this feelings all the way down to the least common denominator. One of the, and this is a challenge. It's a challenge to who? It's a challenge to the ego. The ego's job, and you can use whatever term you prefer, whether it's critical mind, lower consciousness. The ego's job is to make me feel as discontented as possible, for as long as possible, to find something wrong with the present moment or to find something wrong with the past moment, and to be in fear of the future. That's the ego's job. Now, I'm not hating on the ego. I'm not saying to get rid of the ego. I'm not trying to resist the ego. I just know what its job is. I just know its purpose and its job for me, again. I just know its job. There are two entities that are living inside. There could be more. How about that? But there is the universal side, the universal entity, the universal influence that says everything is in divine order. Everything that's happening is happening to serve me. I trust. I'm letting go of not knowing how it's serving me, or I have no idea of how this is going to be serving me, but I trust that it is. You know, that voice that says, trust, let go of the resistance, that voice, that energy that says, that communicates, that encourages, that energy that encourages blind trust. You know, that entity, that creator, whatever you want to call it, universe, God, source, all there is, whatever you want to call it. The words are just words. Or we have the other. You know, some people call it the monkey mind, the constant chatter, the endless stories, thoughts. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know about you. I haven't been able to shut it up yet. However, what the practice is to witness that there's something wrong in the moment, to witness that this moment needs to be more, to witness that as opposed to identifying with the ego. I will be damned if I identify. No, I'm not the one angry. I'm not the one sad. My feelings aren't hurt. It's my ego's. It's my ego's problem. It's my ego's perception. You see, where you take yourself out, it is an out-of-body experience. You take yourself out of the equation. So the feelings are real. The feel is real. The feelings are real. But the reason why you're feeling that is a story programmed, authored by the ego. What? How can that be true? Well, usually, maybe 100% of the time. Okay, I'll give it 99% of the time. 99% of the time, the ego can only muster up one story, one perspective. You know it's ego created, it's ego authored if there's only one way. There's only one perspective. I can only see this problem one way. That's when you know it's all ego. And so when you are in the middle, let's just say in the middle of a storm, the practice is to be very, very aware and conscious of all of the stories that the ego will not let go of. It is a human, recycled, over and over and over and over bad news stories. There's always something wrong, and the stories are so real, and they're so justified, and they feel like all of the evidence that is pointing to the reason why is the truth. But I'm here to tell you that the practice of letting go of these stories is going to reveal a peace, an inner peace, a vibration of contentment that you, I was going to say that you've never experienced, but that's not a true statement, that you will want to experience, well, maybe not, but that I want to experience more and more and more. It doesn't matter what life throws at me anymore. It really doesn't matter, and trust me, my dear audience, I am getting, it's so humbling. And that's another thing. My ego does not want to be humbled. Ooh-wee. Oh, no, you're not important. You're not the reason why I am feeling or this way. No, it's not you. Oh, my goodness. That humble pie and the ego is choking on it. And let me give you a perfect example of just what happened this week. So I volunteered to teach these foam roller classes. And I've been teaching the classes. I used to get paid for teaching them, but I've been teaching them probably a year now. But the last 4 months, 3 to 4 months, I've been volunteering. So I'm not getting paid to teach. Well, this week, I was told that the classes that I teach during the week, Monday through Friday, the Tuesday, Thursday classes, I can't teach those anymore because, now remember that the classes, I've been teaching these classes for almost a year, in the same room and at the same time, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And now all of a sudden, because of there is a conflict between myself and the fitness manager. And remember, the other practice is not to take anything personally. So even though this was directed at me and I was told not to teach the weekday classes anymore, that someone else is going to teach them at the same time, at the same place where I've been teaching them for years, even though it's still not personal. It's still not personal. My point is this: taking away, or the universe, and no one is doing anything to me. It's not, I'm not pointing my finger and saying it's because the fitness manager and I and me are having conflict. Can you imagine somebody having conflict with me? That's impossible, isn't it? I'm so easy to get along with. Anywho, back to the conflict and the results from it, taking those classes away. Boy, my ego had a field day with the stories. Field day as to why and how unjust, and I mean, it just would not shut up. Does not shut up. So the feeling of losing, the feeling of loss, the feeling of this isn't right, all of those stories came in and out of my head, of course. But I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for the story as to why. It has nothing to do with what is happening, the feeling. And so that's when I get back to another solution. There is always a solution to any challenge that you're having. And when I say there's a solution, there is a solution that the outcome is inner peace, that the outcome is contentment. And I say these words, and I keep saying them over and over and over again, just to drill the point. Contentment. Backing up. Crying, anger, confusion, sadness, fear, resentment, jealousy, annoyance, all of those feelings. What if you practice, and I'm not saying to do it all the time, what if you practice not labeling your feelings? What if you heard me, what if you practice not labeling the emotion? Just humor me for a second or two. Practice letting go. You know, all labels require a judgment. Whether you label it good, you label it bad, there is a judgment attached to a label, which includes those labels of feelings. What if, and this is just a practice, what if you just felt whatever you're feeling, you do not attach a story to why you're feeling it, and you definitely don't put a label on your feelings. That's just a different concept, a new concept. Feelings, hold on, feelings, more than feelings. Well, how does that go? Feelings, whoa, feelings. I knew I was going to remember it. Feelings, whoa, feelings. Sorry about that. I just had a flashback of my musical theater days in my head. Okay, back to the feeling. What if, because we are human, we are going to be feeling a variety of different emotions at different times. And there's a full moon out here. And I don't know about you, but the full moon affects me. I can feel it affecting me. It heightens, around the full moon, my feelings are heightened. The spidey senses are just even more, not exaggerated, but very sensitive. And when that is happening, what I usually do, if possible, I go into this, it's called hibernation, and I've spoken about this before. Hibernation mode. That means just quiet. There's no reason for me to talk. There's no reason for me to connect. Just have a little hibernation alone time. A little quiet, not really communicating with the outside world, just being quiet. Tides come in, tides go. The earth revolves around the sun It is constant. And so the emotions are constant too. But what if the practice is to feel the emotions without attaching a story? In fact, I challenge you. This is homework. Feel your emotions without attaching a story to it, attaching a story to why you're feeling a certain way. Try it, or not. But that practice right around that is a piece. It is really a letting go of more of the programming. When I talk about program for unhappiness, it's about letting go of all the program behaviors, gradually eliminating them, so that you are able to live, stay, journey in a place of inner peace, always. Let me get to the other topic for today, which is desires. Now, this topic, as most of my topics, really just goes against everything, scratch that, everything. Most of the things that is being taught, most of the things that's being taught, I know what's taught is desire, want, goals, achieve, whatever you desire, you can achieve. I get that. I get it. But this is the challenge with having a desire. Desires, just by nature, need an outcome. Scratch that. Program desires, because there's a difference between program desires and universal desires. Okay. Program desires require, need an outcome. That means that program desires need to have a manifestation in order for the person that desired whatever they desired to feel good. The problem with those program desires is it just leads to more programming. So with a desire that you need a manifestation, you need an outcome, you need something to manifest. And then with that need, you also, with the desire of needing a manifestation comes a desire. The desire comes with the program of waiting. The desires always come with another program of now I have to wait. I have to wait for my desire to be manifested. I have to wait for my desire to show up. Waiting on a desire. How many of you out there have done that? I've got both my hands up. Waiting on a desire. How does that feel? How does that waiting on a desire mix, feel, blend with contentment? I don't know about you, but waiting on a desire and contentment, they're not too compatible. At least I haven't found them to be very compatible. What's the solution? Well, thank you for asking. The solution is I said there's a difference between a program desire and a universal desire. The solution is to this is me. This is my practice. Is to practice only having. I know I said only. Air quotes on that only, because there's always remain open to all possibilities. So when there's a bold statement of only, know that I don't mean only, that only, but remaining open. I've already had a conversation with the universe more than once. I only desire, or scratch that, I practice desiring only what the universe has planned for me. Whatever the universe's desire, whatever the universe's destiny, I'm good. And thank you for the roadmap, and thank you for the plan, and I don't even need to know what it is. In fact, that's going to give me less things to do, just to take action when inspired, and I'm good with not knowing. And also, even when I say not good, when I say good, I am even better with not knowing and even better with just trusting that the divine, that the universe's plan is even more, is so grand. It's off the scale. It's off the chart. The question becomes, can you trust enough and let go of all of the ego? Scratch the you. Can I let go of all of what my ego has planned for me and say, okay, whatever you want, universe. Your will is my will. Your desire is my desire. And I don't need a manifestation because I don't even know what it is anyway. I'm good. I'm good with whatever you have planned. And how can I be good with whatever the universe has planned? Is because there's tons and tons and decades of evidence from the past that is there to show me that the universe's plan has always been spot on. Now, there are times when my ego's plan and the universe's plan are aligned. Yes, there are times that happens. But when that happens, you know when I know that the ego has a little invested interest is when the ego says, "Oh, I made that happen," or if it wasn't for me and what I did and how I responded, or how I moved, or what decision I made, what choice I made that happen. Oops, did I say that out loud? I get a lot of emails that people want to contradict that. But this thing about blocking, you're sabotaging, you're blocking yourself from your good trust me, God cannot be blocked. God cannot be sabotaged. God cannot. There are no roadblocks that a small. I was going to say puny human. A puny human can block whatever God has planned, whatever the universe has planned. I mean, if you really think about it, God, the creator of all, and we are spiritual beings. We are consciousness having a human experience. God, the creator of all, can be blocked by a human, can be sabotaged by a human. I'm just throwing it out there. This may be the first time you've heard this concept. I'm just got my hands up. And you know the thing about this show and me in general or in particular is that I get a lot of, and there's it's just adding up, just a lot of people that, number one, disagree, number two, get angry, number three, it's just, and so, but the practice is that whatever anybody says to me or about me, it's still never personal. It's still about their journey and what they have to work out or figure out. If this, in last week's show was about buttons and triggers. And if you are triggered or somebody or your buttons are pushed, that just means that there's something. You got homework to do. You've got something to discover. That's good news. And that just means that is a program, because the program is the same all the time, over and over and over again. The program is not going to give you anything new. The program is going to keep you in a box, is going to keep you, quote, unquote, stuck, thinking only one way. And I'm here to share that there are as many possibilities as there are stars in the sky. But this ego mind is not able to comprehend that. But when you practice being open, and my arms are open now, my eyes are closed, practice being open to all possibilities, watch the magic happen. The desires, if you need an outcome, also desires come with not only needing an outcome, and also the desires come with that program of now I'm waiting for my desires to manifest. Also comes with another program behavior that subtracts from happiness, which is having expectations. Expecting something. Expecting a certain behavior. Expecting anything. You want to eliminate disappointment and heartbreak for the rest of your life? Eliminate all expectations. And that's from people and situations. And that expecting, even expecting someone to behave in a way that is upstanding or with character, expecting someone not to lie, all of those expectations, and even expectations of self. Let go, practice eliminating all the expectations of self and of others. Let it go. Only if you want to experience more happiness. And again, happiness is a state of mind. Happiness is a state in mind. Happiness is a foundation, a vibrational foundation. And happiness is an energy. And when you practice letting go and eliminating those program behaviors, another program behavior is worrying. The only reason why people worry is lack of trust. It's the only reason. That's another program. What would you do? Who would you be without all of your programming? This comes up every week, and forgive me if you've heard it a million times, but I just had to repeat it again last night. I had a phone call, and the gentleman asked me about the difference between happiness and joy. I talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, and how I said that it is a vibration, it is an energy. Let the words go. Let the words be what they are, just words. Practice concentrating on the energy behind the words. Practicing, paying attention to the energy behind what's being said, not what's been said. The energy behind it. Energy doesn't lie, and you can feel it. You can feel a person's energy. You can feel it if you practice. See, that's another superpower that I wasn't told to practice paying attention to my intuition, paying attention to inspiration. I wasn't taught that. Now, I was taught to think or to come up with some conclusion, think about it. But I'm here to tell you that this universal GPS, when that is practiced all the time, and I say all the time, it's never steered me wrong yet, ever. So that's another practice. But let me get back to this. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. One of the gentlemen asked me yesterday. He says, "Is the goal to be happy? What kind of goal is that? What kind of goal is that?" And that's the only reason why I'm bringing this up again. You can Google it, the 5 most common regrets of the dying. And so these are people with days, weeks, months to live. And these 5 most common regrets kept coming up over and over again, and they are not in any particular order. I wish I had pursued my dreams and aspirations, and not the life others expected of me. The second one is, I wish I didn't work so hard. The third one is I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. The fourth one is I wish I would have stayed in touch with my friends. And the fifth one is I wish I would have let myself be happier. Now, do I think that the goal is that everybody wants to be happy? Absolutely not. The programming is so deep and it's so real and it's so ingrained that even that thought or story that I want to be happy is so, it's just so many things attached to it. You know what I'm talking about, my dear audience. It's just so many things to it that's attached. Yours truly believes with every cell that the priority and the commitment in my life is going to be a vibration of contentment. And then everything else is just icing on the cake. Everything else is just secondary. Everything else is just extra. Everything else is just thank you. Think about it. All of the achievements, all of the accolades, all of the fame, all of the talent, all of the all of it. The world has you on a pedestal. That's not really a good example. Is wow, you're the world loves you. How's that? The world loves you. Prince, Michael Jackson, Elvis, Whitney Houston, Anthony Bourdain, Robin Williams, Kate Spade, even Steve Jobs. If you do any research or read anything about his bio, realizes that this contentment is important, or not. But the contentment breeds the peace. The contentment is peace. And it doesn't matter. It has, and the circumstances, the external circumstances, don't matter. Is it possible to vibrate an energy of contentment all the time? Check out those babies. Check out those little babies. Unless they're hungry or they need to be changed, check out a baby. 6 months, 10 months, year and a half, 2 years. They're very content in the moment, and they could care less what they look like, who's looking at them, what they're wearing. They could care, not about the future, not thinking about yesterday. So it's getting back to, the practice is getting back to who you were when you were born. The practice is going back to that state of mind that only lived in the present moment. It's going back to that. It's shedding, eliminating the programmed behaviors, getting back to who you were born. Who you were, how, okay, come on. You know what I'm talking about. Even as hard as I have a vision in my head. Let me just share a really quick story. I shared this. This was last year. I was in the airport. I was in the Medford Airport in Oregon, and there was this little boy. He was probably 8 years old, 6, 7, 8 at the most. And there was a toy. It was one of those construction toys, you know, that they having certain public places so kids can play to keep them busy so they're not bored. So it was a big wheel, and you had a crank, and you would turn the wheel, and they're metal figures. There were stick figures inside. And so when you turn the wheel, these two stick figures would dance and dance and dance and dance. And this little boy, 8 years old, 7 years old, he kept turning the wheel, and boy, oh boy, those metal figures were dancing like crazy. Woo, woo, dancing, dancing. And he started dancing, and he started turning it faster, and he started jumping up and down, and he had the best time with that inanimate object that was just turning and turning, and he was so focused and in the moment and having so much fun. That's what I'm talking about. Going back to that. He could care less about anybody looking at him, feeling embarrassed. He was enjoying his time, not concerned with anything other than himself. And that is the state of being, and that is the state of mind that takes practice. Not to say put blinders on and don't know what's going on in the world. That's not what I'm saying, but to come back and be more childlike. Be more childlike, which also requires dropping the shoulders and not taking this life, here we go, not taking this life so seriously, not taking anything so seriously. That's two of the program behaviors. This is important. This is serious. It even feels heavy. This is important. This is serious. So feel whatever you're feeling. But when you say this is important, now you're feeling this. Why? Because it's important. This is serious. You see how that part of it is a lie? So you feel whatever you're feeling in the moment, but practice not attaching a story to it. Practice not believing that the story is real. Practice witnessing the story that the ego wants you to believe is real. That's all I'm saying. That was a lot. And, I got an email asking me what authors that would I recommend. There's so many, but, I just discovered Alan Watts. He's back in the 50s. Alan Watts. There's another one who is a David Hawkins mentor. What was his name? Oh, my goodness, I didn't write it down. Anyway, Dr. David Hawkins. Dr. David Hawkins. And all of these people, you can go on YouTube and find some videos, really good short videos that just share what they're teaching. Eckhart Tolle, of course, Ernest Holmes, who's the other one? Byron Katie. I mean, there's just so many great teachers. Guy Finley, so many great teachers. But my go-to is Dr. David Hawkins and Alan Watts, too. With all of that, my dear audience, when I say happiness is the practice skill, that's good news. It comes back to you making a choice as to what you want to practice. Just know that the struggle, the challenge is always internal. It's always internal. All suffering comes from thinking that something needs to be different than what is actually happening. Suffering comes from thinking that something needs to be different other than what's actually happening. The truth is, and I talked about it forever, the truth is that the vibration of satisfaction is not practiced, is not taught. No, I'm not satisfied, I need more. Well, that needing more, that desiring more, is going to keep you in a state of needing more and desiring more. And I'm not saying not to achieve or accomplish, but that vibration and the energy of satisfaction, if you are dissatisfied in this moment, you are going to be dissatisfied in your future moments too, regardless of whatever you've accomplished. So the practice is vibrating an energy of satisfaction. Thank you for this moment. I know it's here to serve me. Next moment. The ego is never satisfied, ever. That's how you know. That's how you know its identity. It's never ever satisfied. It's constantly. It's an empty, bottomless pit that needs feeding. But I'm not feeding it anymore, especially not as much as I used to. And the other thing, let's get back to your identity. Identify less. Well, scratch that. My practice is to identify less with this human, with my humanness, and identify more with the spiritual consciousness. Identify more with that. Identify with contentment and feeling and being content. And that's it. And that doesn't mean you don't do anything. That doesn't mean you don't take action, but you have the vibration of contentment. Thank you for listening to today's show. And unless somebody has another question, that's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can visit my website at RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. LinkedIn, my Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. And my YouTube channel, I have a few YouTube videos up. It's a work in progress, but it's getting cleaned up. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, was published on Amazon and can be purchased on Amazon. And I've also collaborated with a couple of books. The book I read, and then also If I Knew Then What I Know Now. Those are two collaborations. But the book I'm writing now, Program for Unhappiness, is going to be published hopefully before the end of summer. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. Your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Accept whatever moment you are experiencing without resistance. Enjoy the journey. Try to enjoy scratch that. Practice enjoying the journey. I don't like that word, try. Practice enjoying the journey. And remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. And remember, happiness is a practice skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find, and the more you will experience in every moment. You experience in every moment what you practice. And it is an ongoing, never-ending, no vacation, no breaks practice. Have a conscious week.
Yeah. Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality.
more.